You type in the link here to go to my card game, you press go, and then it's going to ask you to open up the UNSEALR app. You can get that on Google Play or on Apple. Click open, and then it takes it right to the app. My game playable online is all thanks to the app UNSEALR. So you go into the link here, it shows you my game, which is called Artifacts. I've had it made for a few months now, but I've always wanted the ability to play it on the phone and to have the ability to have my cards automatically shuffled and so on and so forth. Well, it is done as long as you have an internet connection at the time and you have this app. So this is what it looks like on the page. As you can see, I am the creator, AdamBomb51. Now, you can play it with other people as long as they have the app too and they're ready at the time you tell them, and you can click play to do that, okay? Otherwise, if you want to just play by yourself or play with a circle of friends and peers with you physically in the room, you'll click on the three dots on the upper right corner here. You click on that, and it shows you a bunch of different things here, okay? One of the things it will show you is the manual for my game, okay? This is the entire manual. Now, I will just explain it myself verbally in a second, but this is how you play my game that I am happy to present to the world. Now, when you click play, okay, it's going to ask you to start a game start. You do that again if you're going to do it with real people, okay, as in other people with this app on their device, okay? Otherwise, if you want to play just with people in the room or play with yourself and just practice, you just click on the three dots in the upper right corner in the chat box. Check the contents of the game. That is what you click. This is very important. Check the contents of the game. You click on that. You select how many players you want. Now, I have mine set up where you can play with up to 9 players. That is how it's even written in the instructions. This is how it works, okay? So we're going to do an example of 4 players, okay? So click start, and then we're going to get right into a pretend game. A pre-rendered background that I made. And as you can see, we got all 4 players on display there. Now, there's all sorts of buttons and everything you can push. You can do things like make the cards on the screen larger or smaller as you wish, as you see fit. Now, the way my game starts is you need to have every player draw a card to see who becomes dealer first, and the person who will become dealer first is the person that has the largest value, or the biggest value, that is in the feather card symbol, okay? Now, as you can see, like I said, you got to do a lot of the work yourself in this app, unfortunately. There's no scripting, there's no AI bots, there's no, no conveniences that you get on regular stuff, and I understand that's frustrating. This is all I am limited to being able to do. So at this point, this is all I'm stuck being able to do. So you have to drag the cards out yourself to shuffle. You click on the card, and you can flip it over to see what you get, okay? So in this example, hypothetically, with the 4 players, again, you're controlling everything, and there is a score panel where you can keep score of everything. But you click on these cards, you flip them over to see what you get. Okay, that player has a 5 of the feather. Now let's see what the last player ends up getting. Not that. Okay, so then in this hypothetical example, the winner is going to be the player 3. Okay, they would be dealer first because they got the first feather card. So then what you do is you click on those 3 lines on the top, and this is with any game you play with the Unsealer app. But in my game, I'm just going to show you for an example. You can make the cards bigger or larger, okay, which is definitely very helpful. And there is a reset button. The nice thing about that, it doesn't reset the score. So whatever scores you have set if for each player, because you can keep track of it and everything, it does not reset just the cards. Okay, so now you know what player is going first, okay? Now the way that I have my game set up is everybody has to bet 20% of their stash for the first round, okay? And then after that first player that was dealer, okay, going clockwise, ends up becoming dealer again, or if they're out of the game, the next person after them, etc. It goes up by 10%, rounded up to the nearest whole number, depending on what you're betting. So what I like to do to make it simple is everybody start with 10, okay? And that's what I have done in this game. So every time you bet, you're going to bet 2 for the first round. So whatever player you are, until the last player, automatically set your score down 2 points, because in your first round you're going to be betting 2, okay? So anyways, you click on that middle symbol there, one with the 3 dots. That one does your scoring, okay? The one on the right of that does your players. That's how you switch to play as other players, because like I said, at this point in time, all I am able to do is work with what I'm able to work with, which I'm very happy to do, but there is no scripting, there is no automatic computer-controlled device that handles these operations. So you have to control all the players' movements by yourself, using, logic to your basis of how the game works, which I'll teach you. So anyways, you pull out the cards, okay? So let's see, what would player 3 have? So player 3, who's dealer, this is how my game works. The dealer, everybody actually gets 3 cards that they can look at, and then they get 1 card face down, okay? So the dealer, what they do, they flip their cards up. They always go first, no matter what. Okay, we'll flip the cards and see what you get. Okay, so in this example, okay, now what you want to do is you want to get the highest score possible. How do you do that? Well, you use the symbols. There are 6 different symbol cards, and they are color-coded as well. So what you do is you can combine cards with the same symbol, adding or subtracting, and I'll get to that in a minute why you may want to subtract. But so as you can see here, these 3 are completely different. So right now there's nothing compatible. Now, the face down card, it comes into play like this. You can discard 1 card before you set your final value, and you have to use that face down card though, even if it's something terrible. You have to use it. So in this hypothetical example, player 3 would be dealer. So they're going to get rid of the 3. We'll put that in their hand, okay, for example. We'll flip over the face down card, see what it is. It's a 2, and it doesn't match anything. Okay, so as a reference, 5 is going to be the dealer's value, okay? So then this is how it works. You're going to click that symbol on the top with the lines to pull up the players. You're going to switch to the next player, which in this rotation would be player 4, because player 3 was currently dealing. As you can see, I got that underneath player 3. So here's the thing. What you want to do is either A, beat that value, and you'll win the whole pot, all the bets in the middle. Everybody's betting 2 this first round, okay, out of 10, okay? So that's what you want to do. You want to beat that. Or what you can do, you can actually tie the dealer's value. If you're able to do that, you get your bet back. That's right. You tie them, the dealer, that is, only the dealer, you get your bet back. You get to take back your 2 chips that you put into the bet, okay? Unless you're the last player in the rotation. So if you are player 1 in this, or excuse me, player 2 in this case, because player 3 is the dealer, then you have the worst possibility, because you have to beat the highest value, whichever player has it. Because remember, it might not be the dealer at that time. You cannot tie and win when you are the last player in the rotation for that turn. So there is no good use in tying. That's where you have the biggest disadvantage, being the last player in the rotation. Now the big advantage the dealer has, check this out. If the final values discovered are tied at all, the way I set my game up, there is no ties. The dealer will win what's left in the pot. So if there is 2 players tied, whether it's with the dealer or not at the very end, if there is 3 players tied, you can play up to 9 players in my game. If there's 5 players tied somehow, the dealer will win the pot. There is no ties in the end of this game. The dealer wins the pot. If you tie the dealer before the last player in the rotation, then you can get your bet back, though, your ante, whatever you want to call it, your automatic ante. So that's what I like to do with this. Now, I'm hoping I can show you some example of some other cards, because like I said, there's 6 symbol cards, okay? And each symbol card has 9 of them. There is 1 through 8, and a 1 with a special effect. There's text on those cards. And those cards can do special things, and they are optional. They are not required, but you can read them and they are optional. Then there are cards that I will show you, which are effect cards, okay? And these cards I call the non-symbol cards. We'll see if I can get one here just from drawing on the deck for an example, okay? And the non-symbol cards, the way they operate is they have to be used no matter what. Now, the order you use them in does not matter, but they have to be applied to a card in your hand for the final value. The order does not matter. So if you get one that sucks, you will want to get rid of it, and you will want to have that be your discard card, and then hope that your face down card is something better than that was. Now, in this example, this is a 1 with the keyboard symbol, and this is a special effect. So if desired, you may add 10 value to any single card in your possession, including this card. That one is awesome. That can obviously come in handy to get you a high value. This one, the 1 feather, if desired, you may discard this card and draw one more card from the deck to replace it. So that's another cool little effect. Now here's the other trick. If you are unlucky enough to have 3 non-symbol cards, that counts as a 0 value automatically. Okay, I wrote the rules like that. So if you have 3 of them, obviously you'll want to discard one of them and hope that your face down card is not another non-symbol card. But if that happens to be the case, oh well. Okay, now I'm going to keep going here and hopefully I can end up get you an example. I'm not having such good luck here. Okay, but I'm trying to show you what I mean. Okay, so far we got this. Okay. There we go. Okay, this is an example. Okay, so subtract a value of 4 to any single card with a symbol in your possession. This card, if you get this, you will likely not be too happy because you want to get the highest value possible. And the only way that this would come in handy is if you're trying to tie the dealer to get your ante back. If you tie the dealer and you're not the last player in the rotation, you get your bet, your automatic ante back, which makes the pot less for the final winner of that round. Okay? So that's the only time that this would possibly come in handy, but it does happen from time to time. Now, here's the thing. If you get this card, subtract a value of 4, and let's say you get a add a value of 2 card, or I have cards like multiply the value times 2, and my most powerful card, multiply a card's value by 3, okay, a card with a symbol by 3, excuse me. If you can combine those cards, you have to, like I said, non-symbol cards have to be used in my game. It's a rule. If you have them in your possession, you can't ignore them. But the order of which you use them is entirely up to you. So what way do you want to use them? Do you want to subtract 4 and then multiply by 3? Or do you want to multiply by 3 and then subtract 4? So do you want to, if your card value is 8, okay, you have this 8 right here. You do 8. Do you want to do 8 times 3, giving you 24, then subtract 4 card after to make your value 20? Or do you want to do 8 minus 4 and then do that times 3 to make it 12? I don't know why you'd want to do that, but depending on your situation, if the dealer's value is 12 and you're not the last player in the rotation, you might want to do that to get your bet back, okay? Now, I know I made a mess on the screen here, so let me try and reset here and I'll show you. Now, if we actually let the round play out the way it's supposed to, okay? So let's see what the dealer, because the dealer always makes their value first, okay? Let's see what they would have ended up doing, player 3, okay? So we got 3 of a pencil, okay? 5 of the bic, and 5 of the feather. Okay, so clearly, if you haven't caught on yet, you want to get the biggest value you possibly can. Dealer has advantage because if there's any ties at the end for the values left on the table, dealer always wins because there is no actual ties in my game the way I have it set up. So let's see here. Let's move the get rid of the 3, okay? That's going to be the discard. We're going to do the face down card. Even if we hate it, we have to use it unless, it's the card that's not affected anyway. Okay, so 5 is going to be player 3's final value. Okay, so we're going to stick with 5. Okay, so let's just do that. Now, let's move on to see what player 4 would be doing, okay? Let's get their 3 cards. Okay. 2 different 3s. And the 1 of the feather. This one has a special effect. You can discard it to draw 1 more card from the deck to replace it. Okay, so let's give that out there, and let's draw another card, and let's see what happens. Okay, so we do have 2 that can combine to make a value of 4. The 1 and the 3. So let's keep those there. Let's get rid of this 3 and check the face down card. 1, you can add a value of 10. Okay, in this case, it doesn't matter which one of the 3 or the 1 on the right of the Bic pen I choose to do, but for whatever purpose, let's just do it on the 3, okay? So the 3 plus 10 obviously is 13, plus the 1 is 14. So we got to keep these cards all out on there because that is that player's value. So now, player 1, which is us here, okay, we have to either tie the dealer of 5 to get our 2 chips back from our bet, or we have to beat 14. Okay, if we tie 14, we're not going to end up winning because the dealer would just win. But you could if you wanted to anyway. Depending on who you like more, who do you want to win, is really what that's going to come down to. Anyways, let's just see what ends up happening here, okay, for us. Okay, we have 7 of the keyboard, 1 of the... Okay, if desired, add the value of 2 to any single card in your possession, including this card of the brush, okay. And then we got 6 of the pencil. So adding a value of 2. Well, if we could have subtracted the value of 2 from the 7, we could have equaled 5 for the dealer's sake, and that would have made us a tie to get our bet. But no, we didn't. So we did not win. So we'll just put the cards in the hand for now so we don't have to hog the table anymore, so we know at the moment who is still in play here. Okay, so we didn't win that round, player 1 that is. Player 2's turn, the last player in the rotation, because player 3 currently is the dealer. So now we have to only win. They have a bad situation. The only thing they can do is beat 14 if they want to win. So in other words, they're very likely going to lose. If they tie, they still lose, remember. Okay, being the last one in the rotation. So they have a very unlikelihood chance of survival here, but we are going to see what happens. Okay, so we do have a 1 with the symbol that says, a pencil symbol. If desired, you can choose any single card in your value in your possession and multiply it by 1.5, including this card. Okay, so we have another card that matches, the 1 pencil. So we're going to pick up the face down card, and hopefully it's something big. It is, but is it enough? Okay, 1.5 times 8 equals, obviously, 12. That is not enough to beat 14, and even if it did tie 5, it wouldn't matter because they're the last one in the rotation. Okay, so then, as I was explaining previously, you have to click on those symbols on top, okay? Drag down the thing, the menu options, and then you click on the middle one, and you just go down the score. So, player 1 lost 2 points, then you'll switch players with the player 1 on the upper right, not the reset, but the one that shows the person symbol, kind of like the pawn chess piece. You click to the other players, and then you would subtract everyone's value by 2, except for, what would that be, player 4, because they had the 14. They would get their bet back plus 6. Okay, so they would be at 16, everyone else would be at 8. Because if you do the math, player 1 loses 2, player 2 loses 2, player 3 loses 2, player 4 gains their 2 back, and then they gain 6 from everybody else. Okay, so that's how that would work. Now, for anybody wondering, I'm going to show you something else really quick here when I'm going to reset the table. Okay, so now you're probably wondering, okay, what happens when you get down really low and let's say the bet increases after automatically having it increase when it gets to the original dealer and then past them, because you go up by 10% rounded to the nearest whole number of what you're betting, which is why I like to bet with just 10. That's just an easy number. And then, you start at 2 at the first round, then you round up, and it gets easy to figure out. Anyways, so you're probably wondering, what do you do when, let's say, the bet is really big, it becomes 4 or 5 chips every hand, and what if you only have 1 chip left, 2 chips left? How does that work? Well, this is how I play it. And this is where, to be fair, it's more fun playing the physical card game, which I also have a copy of. But the physical card game, anyway, to me, it works better with this part of the game, but, it is what it is. I only can work with what I can work with. So what happens here is the player that has only, whatever it is, less than what's required for the ante, they are still able to play just like normal, okay? And here's the trick. If they win, they still get all the pot. That's right. So if you still have 1 chip left, you can still make an epic comeback just as easily. If you have 1 chip left on your score, on your reserve, you can still make an epic comeback. You can still have an amount of wins to make a comeback, and somebody that had a ton of chips that's betting unfairly so much more than you are still able to lose just as much as you're able to lose. That's what I like about my game, is it becomes an easy game for you to make a comeback no matter how screwed you think you are. Okay? No matter what your level of resistance is, okay, going against you. And then now you're probably wondering, okay, well, how does it work when you have only 2 people left on a sudden death thing, okay? Well, it's just like before. You rotate dealers, and every 2 plays, the ante goes up, okay? Well, that's obviously not fun, because then whose player it is going to be betting more every time. It's every 2 turns. I mean, it's going to get hectic at that point. And anyways, I do that because then it speeds up the process at the end of the game. And the dealer still has the advantage of, if there is a tie, the dealer still wins it. So there is no, when you only have 2 people left, there is no way to tie the dealer to win, or excuse me, to get your bet back. That part is done for. So you can't tie the dealer to get your bet back as a stalemate to acquire your ante back. There is that is gone. So you can only win if you beat the dealer's value. Dealer always goes first every turn. So if you beat the dealer's value in the 2 player part of the sudden death part of the game, that's the only way you can win the pot. Okay? And then you'll become dealer next, and etc. There is no tying. Tying just goes to the dealer. Okay? Anyways, I'm just letting you guys know, I personally do love playing my game. It's a lot of fun. I would love to play it with real people and not just obviously do it on the screen by myself, but I don't have the ability to make scripting and AI controlled bots and everything like that to use, analysis and stuff like that. I would love help with that. This is where I want to ask you, anybody out there know how to do programming? Anybody know how to do scripting? Anybody know a better site than this? And that's no. What I'm trying to say is, does anybody know of a site or a place where I can upload my own card pictures like I did with this wonderful site, but be able to do it with computer players scripting and stuff? Because that's one thing very important to me with, any game I play, is to have that, is because I like the idea that I don't have to depend on other people. I don't have to search for other people to play something. I want to be able to just play it whenever. And you can on this wonderful Unsealer app. You just have to have an internet connection to do that, okay? Or data roaming available on your device to do that. But as long as you have that, that's fine. But you can't play or use this app if you have no internet or no cell phone service. Then you can't play it on this app. But besides that, it works just fine. It does what it needs to do, except you have to do all of the work. And I understand that's a turnoff for a lot of people. This is the only thing I'm able to do, at this time, and so I would love to get help, though. If anybody can show me how to program or teach me how to do scripting or anything online, I would love to be able to do that to make that be convenient for us all. This is just a slideshow of every single card in the game. Now that you've seen the basic deck, here are the non-symbol cards. Like I said, whenever you get these, they are required to be used to determine your final value. So even if it's one that you don't want to use or you hate, you have to use it. Okay, the order of where you use it does not matter, though, as I said previously. You can use the subtract first, after, or the add first, after. You can do the multiplying or the dividing first or after. It does not matter the order, but they have to be used. And if you are unlucky enough to be stuck with three of them, your value, is automatically 0. Okay, so if you discard a card and you grab another non-symbol card, still 0. So that's the most unfortunate thing that could possibly happen. But it is all but possible in my game. Up to 9 players. Thank you for watching, folks, and I will leave you with the symbol on the back of the card. This is what the back of the cards look like in my game.